Good day, global citizens. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Fajabola's Opinion. This is a platform where research meets understanding and legacy. Recurrently on this platform, we've discussed HIV, we've discussed COVID-19, we've discussed other infectious diseases. But today we are going to the state of Port Harcourt. I don't say city of Port Harcourt. We are going to Rivers State to look at the correlation between COVID-19 and HIV. Research was done during the pandemic to know how people living with HIV perceived the COVID-19 vaccine and also the acceptance of COVID-19 vaccines across the state. So please join me to welcome Mr. Kofi Uwebari. I hope I pronounced your name right, Mr. Kofi. Or is it Kofi?
Yeah, coffee. I think you did pronounce well.
COVID-19 pandemic. For me, I've moved on. I don't have any symptoms from the COVID-19 pandemic. When you see me talk about COVID-19 pandemic, it's about research. Yeah. So now diving into the discussion, Mr. Kofi Uwebari. My takeaway from the COVID-19 pandemic was it was like a sudden accident on other accidents on a collapsing bridge. If you've come across anywhere I spoke about COVID-19 pandemic, I've mentioned this sentence repeatedly because I just feel that's the best description. I came across it when I did a course during the pandemic at Harvard online program, something like that. And that made me the way during the program, it was a discussion between two physicians and they were comparing Ebola and the COVID-19 pandemic. And that was the first time I was hearing and learning from the COVID-19 pandemic differently. And it made me appreciate Harvard. Since then I've been saying Harvard is Harvard for sure. And I'm not biased to the university I finished from and other universities across the world, but Harvard is Harvard. And yes, Harvard is Harvard because of how they approached it. I saw COVID-19, as I said, is an accident, a huge accident that met other accidents on the collapsing bridge. The collapsing bridge is our health sectors globally because even the global north was affected greatly by the pandemic. Now, what I found more interesting was that your research, younger participants were a majority of your participants, if I'm right, and there they were the least, I don't know, you can correct me, they were the least receptive. Younger people who are living with HIV, they were the least receptive to the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, today we are discussing two viruses, individually, the COVID-19 virus and also HIV. Mr. Kofi Uwebari, what are the myths in Rivers State regarding the COVID-19 vaccine?
I'm not a clinician, right? But before the COVID-19 pandemic, Rivers State has already carried a substantial HIV body with an estimated HIV prevalence of approximately 9.1%. Making the state one of the most significant HIV state with one of the most significant HIV challenges in Nigeria. And this HIV prevalence as before the COVID pandemic got across both general population and key population. Then during the pandemic, there were disruptions. You can remember that there were lockdowns. So what does the lockdown mean as to somebody who needs to go to the hospital or to a center to collect his or her ART drugs? It means you have to struggle with movement, even though there were some exemptions in some states where what they call essential services, but it does not apply to, the people who want to come to take drugs, right? So they were faced with that difficulties. Challenges people face were due to socio-economic as well as health-related vulnerabilities. I usually front and see healthcare workers as also key populations in most instances, and it's within the camp. And then another because there are IDP camps in Rivers, just to shift the talk to the fact that I'm not mentioning people who are not in Rivers State. There are IDP camps in Rivers State as well. And then we COVID-19 pandemic.
You highlighted the other groups aside people living with HIV who are affected during a pandemic like the COVID-19 pandemic. And if you realize when you were speaking, I was a bit teary because that is one of the focus of my career, disaster management. And you mentioned orphans, vulnerable children, internally displaced persons, prisoners, and in every setting, even though government policies try to highlight them, try to prioritize them, these are people in our societies that are often overlooked. So thank you so much for highlighting other groups of individuals who are also greatly affected during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thierry, I even see the